Hey guys, my name is Katarina Berry. I'm an empath. I'm currently challenging myself to create 30 videos in 30 days talking about what it's like to be an empath, what are some of our gifts and abilities, what are some of our unique challenges, and how to put it all together to survive and thrive in the real world. So today's video is going to be dedicated to a special type of empath, a psychic empath, that is a claircognizant empath. Now, I've made a video talking about all 4 types of psychic empaths, so make sure to check that out first. It should be showing up right above my head. I've also made specific videos dedicated to the other 3 types besides this one. So they're gonna all be linked in the description below. I want to make a quick little announcement. So at the very end of this video, I'm going to share some of my personal experiences with claircognizance. So you're encouraged to stay through all the 24 signs of being a claircognizant empath. And also, right before we get started, this is a pretty new channel, so I encourage you to subscribe. If you're an empath, if your child's an empath, if you are dating someone who's an empath, someone who is close to you is an empath, and you're just trying to learn about them, please subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be posting a lot more videos talking about empaths. And if you don't want to miss one, that's a good way to make sure that you're gonna get connected and stay connected with all of my upcoming content. And I very much appreciate it, of course. Without further ado, let's get started. Claircognizance is an ability to get connected to the thoughts of other people, to the higher thoughts and the universal wisdom that's out there. That is not just our limited human thinking. It's the ability to perceive things through this extrasensory perception of thoughts. And so claircognizant empaths usually exhibit these following 24 signs. Number 1, having gut feelings about a situation, such as something isn't right, or something is not gonna go very well, or something, this is a good opportunity, or this is a good time to call this person, or this is a good time to pitch this business idea to my boss. So they can be different, but it's all kind of like on the level of a gut feeling. It's like an intuitive nudge, and you just get the idea, you know it's the right time, and you're encouraged to act immediately. Number 2, they have random, accurate thoughts. So they might be having a conversation with someone, they might be in a situation, social situation, all of a sudden they have a thought, and it's kind of random, but it's an accurate observation, it's an accurate idea, or it's an accurate solution. And so sometimes claircognizant empaths usually tend to struggle because they interrupt people so frequently. They almost like can't help it because they get these ideas and they have to get it out before they forget it. So they can interrupt someone and go like, hey, listen, you just need more sleep, or something else along these lines. And that might startle the person, but it's usually an accurate observation. They just can't wait to get it out. Number 3 is they get ideas for solutions in real life through their dreams. It's not so much visual, that's more of a clairvoyance, but it's like an idea, it's like a pattern, or just like a breakthrough that they wake up and they're like, wow, this is actually a really good idea for a certain life situation or for a certain problem I've been working on. It's like just a thought. It's some kind of a breakthrough that they get in their dream that they're able to later apply in real life. Or it can be just a business that they saw, or something that the idea of it, when they wake up, they're like, wow, this makes sense in life. Number 4 is they have an unquiet mind and are always working. They usually are the type of people that you might call workaholics. They have such an active mind, such an active thought process, that if they have a problem ahead of them, or they're working on finding a solution for a company or their work, or they're just very engaged in the work environment, they usually have trouble to having this life-work balance because they're constantly working in their mind. Their mind is constantly at work figuring things out. So sometimes for them, it's a struggle to disconnect or to stop working or to just do nothing or to relax. Some of the claircognizant empaths almost can't do it. Number 5 is they have too many ideas, and sometimes they struggle choosing between these ideas. They just keep getting the ideas, and they carry a journal around with them, or they constantly type the ideas into their phone. They have so many, and it sometimes can get overwhelming because they don't know which one to act on. Like, which one is the idea? Which one should I go with? It's like so many, and they get them almost every day, and it's great, and it's incredibly it's a great talent. It's a great ability, but it can also be overwhelming because you have so many ideas. But what about taking action, and how do you choose between them? Number 6 is they're constantly getting breakthroughs. So they might be getting solutions to their own problems. They might be getting solutions to other people's problems, to work problems, but their mind is so active that they're constantly getting these solutions, and they might be sharing them with other people. And it might get a little exhausting for others because maybe they just want to relax and not even talk. But the claircognizant empath, their mind is always at work, so they can't just relax. They're constantly solving problems. Number 7 is they are interrupting conversations. As I mentioned, they have so many brilliant thoughts, so many ideas, so many solutions, so many breakthroughs. They're constantly trying to share them before the next idea comes in, before the next solution comes in, before their mind goes somewhere else. So before they forget it, they're trying to get it out, trying to share it with a person, which sometimes results in interrupting conversations very frequently. Number 8, they receive answers through thoughts. So they might pose a question kind of to their own mind and go like, okay, so how do I figure this out? What's the first step to finding a solution to this problem? And they'll get a thought that has the solution, that has the answer. So if they're wise enough and they act on it, they're gonna discover that this answer is the right solution, which is a great, exciting ability. Number 9 is they read people's intentions. They can hear it's not like hearing, but they can perceive the people's true thoughts. So if someone's saying one thing but thinking another thing, the claircognizant empath is able to perceive this. They're able to see what's actually going on in a person's mind. They're able to get that sense that they're thinking about something different. So it's like being a lie detector. Number 10 is they are really good at logical puzzles and challenges. In fact, they love those. They love different games that are like problem solving, and they like they might even like challenging computer games. They might like puzzles, crosswords, chess, these types of activities that involve logic, that involve paying close, focused attention to the problem at hand and using your mind to solve the problem. And they're constantly looking for something for their mind to work on to kind of get this release and kind of engage the mind while giving themselves a break. Number 11, they enjoy figuring out solutions. That can be anything, but they enjoy problem-solving types of jobs. When they're in an environment where they have an ability to solve things, to address challenges, to put out fires, so to speak, by reacting or responding to problems that come up with immediate action and plans and these breakthroughs, they feel really good because their abilities are used and applied in this type of work environment. Number 12 is they have affinity for writing or reading. They are usually prolific readers. They read a lot because that engages their mind and that allows them to learn new information. They are very passionate about learning. They love to write their ideas down because they have to put them somewhere so that they don't have to remember and keep them all in their heads. So they're usually very driven to write and to express themselves verbally, through writing, through kind of putting it all on paper, and they also like to read, they like to learn, they like to acquire new information. Number 13 is they are the answers people. They are the problem solvers. So they don't like just sitting there and talking about a problem. They don't like discussing the emotions associated with the problem. They want to figure out the solution. They don't want to waste any time. on you know, the more emotional aspects of things. They want to get to the bottom of the problem, to see the root of the and cause of the problem, and to solve the problem. So if someone's coming up to them to talk about a problem, not to solve it, they can sometimes get upset and they can overreact, and they can, you know, be like, hey, why are you telling me this problem if you don't want to solve it? You know, so this can come off as insensitive, but that's just part of who they are. They're problem solvers. So they might not be into the social aspect of problem discussions. They're there to help solve the problem, and that's what they're really after. Number 14 is they prefer to self-study. So what that means is online education programs are good for them. Guided self-study is good for them. If they're a child, they might be more interested in like going to online school or doing their homework through like online programs, because they just study better on their own. Why? It's because their mind is a lot faster than most other people. So they get easily bored in a class where someone's asking stupid questions over and over again. And of course, no questions are stupid, but to them it just seems too slow. So they become disengaged, they stop paying attention, they can't stay focused because there isn't enough to focus on. Their mind starts wandering because it's just not stimulating enough for them. They're way ahead of the whole class, and so they can't stay together with it because they're ahead. So they prefer to study on their own. And it's still important that they have social interaction. But if you have a kid who's claircognizant or is displaying signs of being a claircognizant empath, if they want to study on their own, if they want to learn through like an online program or private tutor or something like that, please consider that, because they might excel way more than if you keep them in the classroom where they're not even challenged and they're bored out of their mind. They might really start kind of rebelling and showing signs of withdrawing from the entire situation. And if you let them study at their own pace, which is a much more rapid pace, you're going to be blown away by the results that they start showing. So just an observation. Number 15, they love exploring texts and reports. These are the people that if you give them a spreadsheet, if you give them a complex business plan written on 50 different pages, if you give them a complicated business case study, a difficult logical problem, a difficult math problem, they're going to love it. They're going to get into all the details of it. They're going to geek out and enjoy this type of work. They're going to really do really well at uncovering the little things that other people might miss because they pay so much attention, and because it's a challenge for them to do their best, to see everything, to learn everything that they need to learn about this, to give the best answer, the best solution. So this type of work they very much enjoy. They make really good lawyers. They love this type of study where they acquire the information from the books and then they kind of piece it together in their own way for a specific case or for a specific situation. So they're very skilled at that, naturally so. Number 16 is they have natural affinity for languages and speaking. These types of empaths, the claircognizant empaths, really enjoy the complexities and the intricacies of languages. They might know more than one language. They enjoy studying languages. They enjoy seeing the little nuances and kind of expressing themselves uniquely by using language in a way that's very personal to them, that shows their knowledge and understanding of the language. And they usually like speaking. They might enjoy public speaking. They might be really powerful public speakers. But in either case, even if they don't really enjoy public speaking, they're usually good at public speaking, even if they don't like it for whatever personal reasons. Maybe they're not so much of a public person, but they're still good at it because they know how to convey ideas and messages in a powerful way that everyone listens to them and everyone pays attention. And that's just something that comes to them naturally because that's how their mind works. Their mind kind of works to understand the minds of others and to learn how to convey the information in a way that engages the minds of others. Number 17 is they sometimes have trouble getting out of their head. I've mentioned this, I think, several times in a different way, but they are very mental. That's where most of their activities take place. So being a claircognizant empath, you're all in your thoughts. You may sometimes experience trouble connecting with your feelings. You may sometimes experience trouble having patience for other people's emotions and feelings. You are all about thoughts, all about solutions, all about figuring it out. You're not there to necessarily just sit through an emotional rant. You get very kind of bored with it or overwhelmed. So sometimes that also can kind of be a little bit of a detriment to them, because when they're having trouble getting out of their head, they might miss some of the more sensory experiences, such as appreciating a beautiful moment, or enjoying, some relaxation, or just kind of being, content, not doing anything, and relaxing and taking care of yourself. So they might be very impatient with these types of experiences, and it might feel sometimes like they're spending their whole life in their head and their thoughts. So the best solution for this is to learn to meditate and to do it frequently, to establish a meditation practice, because that's one sure way that can help one get out of their head. And for a claircognizant empath, that might be necessary. Number 18, they know if something will work. So when you're presenting something to a claircognizant empath, like a business plan, or like an idea that you had, or like a new technology that you heard about, and all of a sudden they get a very strong reaction, like that's not gonna work. And you're kind of confused, or maybe you're personally attacked. This is not really personal. It's just they're getting this clear understanding of something that's wrong. It might not be the idea that's wrong, but there's the way that the process is set up, there's the way that the thing is planned, that the claircognizant empath just gets a clear understanding that it's just not going to work because of certain things that are set up the wrong way or doomed to fail, essentially. So don't take it personally. It's actually a great idea to ask why. And the claircognizant empath will usually be able to tell you, here's why, here's the thing that's not going to work, and that's why. Here's this problem that you're going to run into, and that's how to avoid it. So if you take it personally and shut down and kind of exclude them, you're going to miss on an opportunity to learn how to improve the process and how to make your idea work. And another good question to ask would be, what would you do different to make it work? And that's another way to get a great answer, because claircognizant empaths are wired to be able to give you this kind of feedback. Number 19 is they are usually able to find lost objects, and the way that happens is they can get a clear answer by just asking this question, like, where is this, or where did this person lose this, or where is this object currently? And if they tune in intuitively, they'll get an answer. A lot of claircognizant empaths have this ability to just know where something is, to just know where this person could have lost something or left something. Or sometimes it comes in the form of a question, like someone's complaining about, I lost my favorite journal or something, and I can't find it. And sometimes the claircognizant empath out of nowhere will be like, have you checked the trunk of your car? And you're like, why are they asking me this? But sometimes if you do that, you'll be able to find the object. It's just part of the claircognizant psychic skill set. That's just something that they sometimes are able to do. Number 20 is when they're thinking about a problem, the answer usually pops into their head. It's just a solution. They're just seeing it. It just comes to them, just like finding a lost object. If they ask themselves a question, or if you ask them a question, they'll just get an answer. And it does have to do with logic, actually, even though it doesn't seem like it. But the claircognizant empaths acquire so much information throughout their lives. They acquire so much information from all the texts they study, from all the things they learn, from all this constant brain activity, that when they give you a split-second answer, it's coming from this wealth of knowledge that they've accumulated throughout all the years that they've been on this planet. throughout all the stuff that they've learned. So sometimes they're not even able to know how they know, but they know from all the knowledge that they've acquired. So it's just their brain putting it all together in a split second and giving it out to you. So, you know, it's important to look into this advice, because usually it can be very useful and accurate. Number 21, they like writing down their thoughts. I mentioned this, that they have affinity for writing and reading, but usually a lot of their writing has to do with them taking their thoughts out of their mind and onto the paper, so they don't have to carry all these thoughts with them at all times, because it becomes very overwhelming and exhausting. So they have to journal their ideas, their thoughts, their breakthroughs, and that helps them kind of free up some space in their mind. And also it's very daunting when they had a great breakthrough, great idea, and they forgot it because they didn't write it down, and a bunch of new ideas and thoughts came into their head, and now they can't connect to that lost one. So they learn to carry something with them that allows them to write things down, so that they have some mental space available for new things to come in, and that they also don't lose these great, brilliant thoughts that they get exposed to. So number 22 is they are obsessed with learning. This should be a no-brainer at this point. They love learning. They love learning. They're lifelong students. They usually really enjoy being in the environment of school, not for the social aspect of it necessarily, but because it's a time where they are encouraged to dedicate all of their time to studying. They usually enjoy studying. They might not be the best, the top student in the class, or they might be, but regardless, they enjoy the process of study. They love learning, and they seek knowledge, new knowledge about everything that they're interested in. And sometimes they'll acquire new interests at a rapid pace because they just love learning. So they'll be interested in this thing and learn about this thing, then they kind of become bored with it and they're interested in the next thing. It's less to do with a flimsy kind of nature, and it's more to do with just this insatiable curiosity. They just love to learn, so they want to continue doing that as much as possible in their lives. Number 23 is they get these information downloads. So they'll get this understanding of something spiritual, or this understanding of a process, a scientific revelation, or understanding of something, a process in the society or in the world, and they just get this information without seemingly learning it from anywhere specifically. And this is more of a psychic ability, because they get these downloads from a higher source of wisdom, higher sense of consciousness. It's not something that they acquire through study. It's something that they kind of allow to come through them because they're in the receptive state and they're open to receiving information that they haven't been exposed to. So this can be very profound wisdom, very deep knowledge, and they might keep it to themselves or they might share it with the world. And sometimes these types of claircognizant empaths become spiritual, philosophical, even political leaders in the world because of what they share with people, and because of the growth and the faith and the transformation they inspire in the communities that they live in, or that they impact with their work. Number 24, the final one, is they are really good at putting the knowledge together. So seemingly disconnected ideas, seemingly disconnected things, or bits of information or visions or thoughts. They might feel overwhelmed sometimes by how much thoughts, by how many ideas that they get, how active their brain is, and how their mind seems to never stop. But they have this wonderful ability to connect the dots, to put together several ideas into one big vision, to connect breakthroughs into this one powerful transformational piece that will inspire others. So they're really good with connecting knowledge. Again, if a claircognizant empath becomes a lawyer, they might be able to prepare an outstanding presentation that will save someone's life, because they connect the knowledge that they've acquired from hundreds and thousands of books, and they're able to pull this information together and come up with a solution that has never been, you know, put together before, that is very outside the norm, that is very transformative, very unique. So that's one of their abilities. So now that we're through all the 24 signs of a claircognizant empath, I want to share my personal experience with claircognizance. I consider myself to be very much a claircognizant empath. All of these signs that I've read are very true to me. I have so many thoughts go through my head, it's impossible. I have written through tens and tens of journals since I've been a child, since I was a child. And the main reason that I do this is to put my thoughts down on paper so that I don't have to carry them around with me at all times. I was able to program my mind to retain incredible amounts of information for a short period of time. And I would, I'll give you an example. I was in an anatomy and physiology class in college, which I chose to be my one science credit, which I could have chosen something else, honestly. But it was very difficult, and it involved memorizing a lot of terms that were in Latin that I don't speak, obviously. Since I didn't want to become a nurse or a doctor or do anything associated with anatomy and physiology, I knew I wasn't really gonna keep this information because it doesn't have much use for me. So, but I wanted to do well in that class. So what I would do is I would, our teacher, it happened so that our teacher would give us 250 questions and answers to every test that we took in that class. Questions and answers, correct answers, 250 for each test. And there would be 60 questions on the actual test, but they would be the same exact questions as he would give us. So what I would do is I would memorize all 250 questions and all the correct answers. And I would do this in a very structured way. I would communicate to my mind or set an intention, very direct intention, that, and it would be like a random number. So like after a random number of times, but I would select it, like after 5 times of reading this. So first I would write it by hand, because that always kind of helps me connect to my mind in a way that's more significant. So I would write them all out by hand, first of all. And then I would make like an intention, set an intention that after 5 times of reading all these 250 questions and answers, I would remember all of them. So I would just decide that. And usually the like, if it was 5 times, usually the 5th time was the hardest, because I knew that was the last time I was seeing this text. And after it, I would have to know it. But like, it was such a strong decision that I would make, that it was like, I psyched myself out to believe that there was no other way, that this is like do or die. And so I would focus on it very deeply and very intently, and it would be overwhelming. I would have to, like, I would feel like I want to throw this test, you know, across the room, all these 250 questions. I would feel sick. I would feel like such a strong headache that was like the last time. It would all happen on the last of the said times, like in this example, the 5th. And it would just be the most difficult thing in the world to just finish reading this text. But I would do it. And you guys, I would get a 98 or 100 on every single one of these tests. And I would not remember a thing coming out of it. Because, again, the only reason is I knew I didn't really need anatomy and physiology. So I did the best I could. And I was going towards a summa cum laude award at the end of my technical college years. It worked, but I would not retain this information afterwards. But I would remember all 250 questions like 6 times throughout that semester, because that's as many of the major tests as I think we had. So I would repeat this process every single time. I don't know how I came up with it. I just came up with it, and it worked every single time. So if I would miss a question, it would just be 1, you know. I never gotten anything below like a 98. So that's one of the examples. Another one of the examples I want to use here is getting like answers for math problems when I was little. Is I was in school, and this is why I actually disconnected with math. I would be looking at a problem, and I would not, we would just be, doing this for the first time, learning a new rule, and I would look at a problem and I would get the answer, and it would be the right answer, but I didn't use anything to solve the problem. I didn't use any formulas. I didn't do anything in my mind. My mind would just solve it somehow. I still don't know how. And I would get the answer. I would just know the answer. So I would tell the teacher the answer. And the teacher would be pissed. They're like, you cheated. You looked it up in the back of the book. And I'd be like, no. And they felt so isolated. It felt so weird. I didn't know why I was able to do this. And I didn't see a point of learning the rules if I could just get the answers. So I became really disconnected with math. But in college, in technical school again, I was fortunate enough to find a teacher that saw this as valid. She understood that I was having these experiences, and she thought it was very valid and possible. And so she connected with me on this level of understanding that I had this ability, and working with me nonetheless, and not making me feel so isolated. So she, by validating me, she was able to inspire me to actually study the rules and actually solve the problems by applying the rules. I started with pre-algebra in college actually, which is pretty strange considering that I took algebra lessons before, but I was so disconnected I never paid attention. So I decided to start from the very basics, and this teacher stayed with me, this professor stayed with me all the way to calculus, which I aced. But it was all because I learned how to still learn the rules, and because I felt validated for this ability to just know the answer. So these are my experiences with claircognizance. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I hope you've learned a lot from it. If you identify as a claircognizant empath, please let me know in the comments below. If you think there are some other signs that I might have missed, please let me know what they are. Remember, I made 3 other videos talking about the 3 other types of psychic empath. Now, I want to highlight that these are not mutually exclusive. You can be more than one type of psychic empath. In fact, I identify with all 4, but some might be a little more developed, and some might be a little less. So check out the other 3 videos. They're linked in the description below. I love you guys so very much. I will be seeing you in my next video, and until then, you'll take care.